Well, hello fibre folk and welcome to West Wales. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today is a craft and chat, but as is often the case, I'm going to start with a little walk before we go back to the house, and I'm combing some Lincoln longwool. Well, that's the plan. And if you've been here a little while, then you'll know I bought some new wool combs, which I've never used before, and I sort of basically asked you all to help me with my technique because I knew I was doing it wrong. And you did. So I thought I would make a sort of follow-up video to say, well, this is what I've learned. And I thought I would share some of those learnings in case you are new to wool combs and you might find the information that the Fibre Arts hive mind, as I'm calling it, passed on to me. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around, show you where we are. Taking a little walk along what's known as the causeway to the inner light at Goodwick, and we came down here because tomorrow's the full moon and we would normally try and take a photograph of moonrise. I say we, I mean actually what I mean is Andrew, my partner. I would just kind of sit in the car and go, oh, doesn't it look pretty? Anyway, it should be over there and the moon is up, but just there's so much cloud we can't see it. Now, as I say, actually full moon tomorrow, but the forecast for tomorrow is pretty dismal. So we thought we'd try today, we'll try again tomorrow, and then try again on Friday if we don't get a good shot. And then if we don't get a good shot on Friday, well, we'll try again next month. But you can see it is absolutely like a mill pond out there, and it is definitely the calm before the storm, because we have got a big old blow coming in. Now there are cormorants fishing here, but I doubt you'll be able to see them because I'm just filming on my phone and I haven't got sort of big wildlife lenses or anything. But yeah, there's a couple of cormorants out there, and I think there might be seals as well because I can see quite big sort of movement on the water, which could mean that there's seals out there. They do come in this close in the winter. Anyway, I'm going to walk back to somewhere over there because I want to collect some sea beet to have as a vegetable for our dinner tonight. What you doing, little one? Should we walk along here? Should we walk along here? Oh, we've got a bit of sea mist coming in. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much of a chance to take a moon photo tonight. Just going to have a few of these leaves. They're not at their best looks-wise at the moment, but they're delicious and nutritious. It started to spit with rain, so I'm going to head back. I'm going to also look for some pine cones for starting the fire and for decorating the house for Christmas. Right, well, I probably will see you back at the house. In the echoey conservatory. I definitely have hat hair, but we'll just have to live with that, I guess. And I have fibre to prepare, and this is more of the Lincoln longwool that I have slowly been working my way through since can't actually remember, quite a long time. But anyway, it doesn't matter when I started it. I'm just enjoying the process, and I'm working with my wool combs. So if you want to grab a project and a hot drink, then pause now, get yourself together, and let's do a bit of a craft and chat. So as I explained, these are very new to me, these combs, and they came from, where did they come from? Wigan Woolworks, I think. They're part of their sort of own brand, she says, looking for a mark on it. I'm pretty sure it's Wigan Woolworks. I'll put a link in below, and I'm using them as fixed combs. They could of course be used not fixed, and I'm just sort of teasing out the locks, and I am lashing on with the cut side behind the comb and the tips to the front comb, and then eventually I'm going to dizz them off. And when I did this the last time, I asked for some help, and I got lots of help, so thank you everybody who suggested different things I could try. And I'm going to try and share some of those tips so that if you're new to using wool combs, you might find them useful too. And you know, we all learn together, don't we? The first thing I must say is thank you to everybody who has joined the new Ply and Dye school community. School being a platform, I kind of say it's a bit like an old school forum, or like a Facebook group, but no ads and no algorithm. So it has amazed me how many people joined. I honestly thought it would be me and maybe a couple of other people. So yeah, so that's been lovely, and people have been introducing themselves and just sharing a project and chatting, which was exactly what I hoped would happen. So that has been really amazing, and I'm going to try and sort of get a few things in what they call the classroom, because the idea is that if you have the kind of the fancy expensive version, you can sell courses, but as I have the non-fancy hobby version, I'm just going to maybe put a few PDFs up there. Maybe I'll put the PDFs that you can get when you sign up to my newsletter. I don't know, I'll see. So I'm going to sort of add a few things to that, and also try and get a sort of a regular day where we all share something that we've been working on that week. I'm thinking it's going to be a Friday, and I don't know, Fibre Friday, and we can all share a project. It doesn't have to be a fibre project. I mean, I do want to keep fairly closely to sort of fibre and textile, but it could be any creative thing that you've been working on. So if you would like to join, you think that's something you might be interested in, I will leave a link in the description below. It is free for you, and yeah, I'm very impressed by it so far. The people who run the platform are very dedicated to not having any spam or bots or scammers. So yeah, so far so good, and we'll just see how it goes and see if that's something people enjoy. And yeah, there you go. So I've loaded up the comb, but I'm actually going to have to stop filming because I'm finding this little cardigan, which is actually an old work cardigan, and I've kind of repaired it many times. I'm finding it a bit warm, so I'm going to take that off and come back to you. I've also slightly changed the camera angle, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so when I loaded this the last time, I sort of packed everything down here, and I wasn't sure I was doing it right, definitely not. So the advice from the Fibre Arts Hive Mind, as I'm calling everybody who was kind enough to give me some hints and tips, I'm sort of spreading it out a little bit. Then got my fixed comb, and I was sort of changing combs. So again, I'm not doing that. But what I am doing is sort of working away from myself and just starting with very small little passes, and then going back that way, and then that way. And I'm finding it surprisingly long, this staple. I mean, it is a long wool, quite obviously, but I sort of thought it wasn't quite as long as this. So I'm glad I'm combing it. I mean, not that I've got a drum carder, but I might have been tempted to put it on the drum carder. Sorry, I just hit you there. Yeah, so the reason you don't generally put longwools on a drum carder is because the staple length is so long that they sort of get wrapped around each other and you just can't get them off the drum carder. If you have a really big drum carder, then you can actually put them on a drum carder. And something like a Gotland, which although it is classed as a longwool, sometimes the staple length is not particularly long, you might get away with it. But yeah, otherwise your standard drum carder, the staple length is just too long. You can of course flip card them, and that is another really good way of preparing longwools. There you go. So, and now my dog is barking at me. I thought she'd gone to sleep. I'll just have to go and find out what she's barking at. I've got these little bits and I'm just going to pull those off and put them in the bag for, I don't know, probably felting, maybe needle felting, don't know. I'll have to see how good it is. Right, then next bit, sort of move them all up again, and you can see these still haven't been combed out. Naughty magpies is what she was barking at, and they are absolutely her least favourite bird in the world, and she goes ballistic if they try and come anywhere near her garden. Right, anyway, that was a bit of a digression, wasn't it? Okay, so these little short bits, just lifting them off, and then they're going in this bag, which I'm kind of thinking will be for felting. Yeah, I think so. Right, okay, so I have got my next comb like this, and I'm putting them back on the fixed comb. I don't know whether you can hear this dog. She's now standing by the door and growling because she now wants to go and check that there are no magpies in the back garden. Ah, it's going to be one of those days, my friend. It is going to be one of those days. Right, I better go and reassure her that we are not being invaded by magpies. I'm afraid this is going to be interruptions all afternoon long. Well, by the magic of editing, you, of course, will not see the interruptions, which is good. But for me, I'm going to be interrupted. And this is my precious crafting time. And it has started to rain again, so she'll demand to come back in a minute. She doesn't really do rain. Now, my next question is, should I be doing that? I think maybe I should. But you can see how beautifully this is combing out. I am going to do a full video on this particular breed because it is part of my breed study, my rare breed spin along breed study that I am very slowly working my way through. This will be my 8th breed, and when I started I thought, oh, you know, this will be a quick 6-month project. 6-month project, does that make sense? Yes. Oh, there you go, she wants to come in. I'll be back in a minute. You're going to have a little sleep, are you? I think you probably are. So I've slightly changed the camera angle again in hopes that you can see what I'm doing. And the dog, hopefully, is now going to go to sleep. Well, it was lovely down at the beach, and there was a couple of people open water swimming rather than me. Too cold. I don't mind swimming in the Med. I'm not swimming off the Welsh coast. And if that makes me a bit of a softie, so be it. But anyway, they were out enjoying a bit of open water swimming, and then there's a new sort of wood-fired sauna thing on the Parog, and I'm not quite sure if it belongs to the Open Water Swimming Club, who are known as the Pembrokeshire Blue Tits, or whether it belongs to you know, kind of just some individuals. I'm not sure. Anyway, they were enjoying their sauna after their cold dip. And there is a new art gallery that has opened in a building on the Parrot that has been, it's been empty forever. So that was quite exciting to see that. And then a sort of new, sort of antique-y, vintagey shop. So at some point, when I'm not on a mission, and generally I am on a mission, but in theory, when I'm not on a mission to kind of walk the dog and pick sea beet and, you know, kind of all the other things I'm normally trying to achieve, then I will go in there and have a little look round. And if they are okay with me filming, I will film. But I do like to kind of make sure people are okay with me actually filming before I kind of identify too much where I am. So there we go. Let's take this off and then put this back on like this. And I'm finding this very kind of therapeutic, and I'm starting to build up a rhythm, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm absolutely delighted with these little combs. Now, I did share the last time why I chose single tines rather than a double row of tines, but I will share it again. And the reason being that I mostly work with more medium types of wool, and so these are better for a medium or coarse wool. And also you can blend on single tines, which, I mean, I'm sure it's not impossible to blend on double tines, a double row of tines, but generally it is recommended a single row of tines for blending. So that was my reasoning. And I loved this little arrangement. It is just clamped to the table with G-clamps, and it comes with a tine straightener and a Diz, and when you're not using it, it all sort of sits nicely and neatly, and I can put it away in the cupboard, so there are no danger of silly dogs injuring themselves, or silly humans, because I can be equally silly and, you know, kind of impulsive and maybe a little reckless sometimes. So yeah, they can sit in their little housing and not spike anybody, because they are pretty spiky and pretty sharp. So I think we're almost there. And I actually have lost count as to how many times I've sort of put them from one comb to the other. And I'm not suggesting you need to go back and count. I'm certainly not going to. And I'm not too worried, but I'm quite happy the way that looks. So these last little bits I'm going to pull off and put them in the bag. And then I'm going to get my Diz out. I had quite a lot of trouble dizzing first time round. And again, excellent advice. So I'm sort of pulling the fibre, I'm pulling the fibre sort of up the comb a bit, so it's all sort of fluffed out. And my Diz is hiding under here somewhere. There you go, one Diz. And I'm going to use the smaller hole. And I'm sort of starting at the top and the side and just sort of making a little point, threading it through. I think definitely you can get threaders, and that might be quite a helpful thing. And then just very gently pulling off a nice little comb top. Would I call this? I suppose I wouldn't call this a comb top. What would I call this? Sliver? Anyway, whatever it's called. And you can tell me in the description. No, not in the description. You can tell me in the comments what it's called, because I don't know. I mean, I could probably look it up if I absolutely had to, but anyway. So I'm now finding that just spreading out the fibres has meant that it's coming off, it's dizzing off just brilliantly. And there's a bit that maybe I should have combed a little better. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. And I couldn't have done it without you. Right, and then I'm just gonna, that bit's a bit random. Those bits are a bit short, so that can all go in the to look at again bag. And I've got a lovely little nest of fibre that's going to go in my bucket. And I'll try and show you my bucket of prepared fibre. You can see there's other things in here, but this is all prepared. And by having it in this bucket, which used to have bird food in it, it's got a lid. It's getting a bit full now. I know the moths can't get in. Not that I think I've got moths, but you know, just need to be careful, don't you? There you go. And all ready. And I'm just gonna do a bit more. So as ever, let me know what you're working on. And if you're in the group, I will put up the Open Studio Friday, or whatever it is I'm going to call it, Fibre Friday post in the group, and you can share pictures, which is kind of why I set up the whole thing in the first place, because I'm just nosy. And I really don't get on with Instagram. I've never really used Facebook. I mean, I'm in a couple of Facebook groups, but they're kind of, I'm a lurker really. I don't really post. I mean, one of them is for the group that I'm in for my my graphic design business, my event stationery. I mean, I can't really call it graphic. Well, it is graphic design, but I mean, I basically just do event stationery. So I'm in a group for that, and I'm also a member of one of the raw fleece groups that are on there, just to kind of see when exciting raw fleece comes up in my area, because I might want to buy it. I mean, I do want to buy it. I always want to buy it. But I'm being strong and not buying more than I can process in one go. So, you know, once this is all done and processed, I'm not going to say it's all going to be spun, but it's going to be ready to spin up. Then I might allow myself to have another raw fleece. I really had forgotten how much I love preparing from raw fleece. And I think what I'd done is I'd sort of told myself I didn't enjoy it, so that I didn't feel so bad about selling all my equipment and downsizing. And of course, as it turns out, I just needed to slightly alter what I was doing. But at the time when I was downsizing and moving, because we were moving here and I just didn't know how much space we were going to have, it seemed like the sensible thing to do. So I did. Right, okay. Oh, a bit of it. There wasn't very much VM. There's a little bit of VM, which I'm just picking out. And I had to scour this twice. And I still keep coming across little bits where the lanolin was so hard that even after the second scour, it just didn't come off. And that is the disadvantage of buying fleece that has been sat in a cold barn for more than 12 months. I mean, of course you can save them, and as I say, I now actually scoured it twice, and it's beautiful once it's been processed, and I have spun quite a lot of it. But yeah, it would have been a lot easier if I'd bought a fresh fleece, or a freshly shorn fleece. Now, I did toy with the idea, as I always do, about doing Vlogmas. And I sort of started recording a little bit of footage. And then I sort of stopped myself because I've got a couple of things going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to have time to do this. So I'm not going to do it. But I have been enjoying other people's Vlogmas. And in particular, Fran from Wool and Hearted has been starting her Vlogmas, and I've really been enjoying that. And Fran lives in France. She's a British lady, lives in France, and she has been sharing a little bit about French life and about her crafting, and she is a delight. So I've really enjoyed that. And of course, I have my regular YouTube channels that I watch. I don't think they're doing Vlogmas. There's Living the Sky Life, and they have their vlogs out on a Wednesday. There is Rewilding Jude, and he has his videos out on a Sunday. And then I've started watching, I think they're called the Scottish Isle. And I sort of had watched them before, and somehow, in kind of annoying YouTube land, I got unsubscribed from their channel, which does happen. It just sort of randomly unsubscribes you from channels. So I'd sort of lost them somewhere, and now I found them again. I was like, oh, lovely. And they are, you know, my sort of age group, couple with, I think they had 2 pet sheep. I'm not sure if they're down to maybe 1 pet sheep. Anyway, they had sheep of uncertain number. I'm sure they're certain how many sheep they've got. I'm just uncertain of how many sheep they've got. And they are restoring this Georgian farmhouse. So it was not particularly a massive rebuild or anything. It was very much sort of just decorating and fairly simple things from what I can work out. And they are decorating it in the style of the Georgians, so using Georgian colours. They've been using clay paint and just sort of documenting what they're doing, and I find it very interesting. Not that I live in a historic building in any way. I live in a 1960s bungalow, but I love my 1960s bungalow, and I definitely don't want to do any kind of restoring of buildings. That is not my idea of a relaxing way to spend your life. That is my idea of some kind of hellscape. No. So as I have probably shared before, because I do kind of repeat myself, that Andrew and I both at different times in our life before we knew each other lived sort of off-grid in caravans, and I have no desire to return to that style of life. I really like electricity, really like it. Running water, flipping fantastic. You know, mains drainage, oh my goodness, wonderful stuff. So, oh, now I've broken my own rule. I should have moved that up a bit, shouldn't I? Like that. Yeah, so much as I quite enjoy watching people kind of redecorating, and I find it very interesting when they're restoring historic buildings, very, very interesting. Not something I actually want to do. But I do need to redecorate. This conservatory is desperate for a redecoration, and what used to be the sort of breakfast area, they called it the dining room on the I was going to say, what do you call it in America? Realtor. Anyway, estate agents. We call them estate agents. On the estate agents' details, they said real estate agent. There you go. Sorry. On the estate agents' details, they called what I use as an office, they called it a dining room. Well, as long as no more than two if you want to eat, absolutely fine. So yes, a breakfast area is probably a more accurate description. Oh, I think I went a bit funny sideways there, didn't I? Anyway, yeah, so at the moment it has not been decorated since we moved in, and it is in desperate need. But it just kind of keeps getting put back and put back and put back as other things become more important. Now I am very aware that the light is going, so I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to be able to carry on filming. And it is, of course, getting to that point in the year where we are nearly at the shortest day. That's for us in the Northern Hemisphere, because we, of course, are in winter, and the Southern Hemisphere is the opposite to us. But the shorter days do mean that filming, I have like a window of time when I can film, and after a certain amount of time it just gets too dark, so I have to stop. So Andrew pulled our first carrots for the winter. We like to grow a few veggies to go with our Christmas dinner, and we grew some carrots, and so I just wanted to check, make sure they were really good, because I've sort of been putting together the shopping list for Christmas and what we need to actually buy, and just wanted to check that the carrots were kind of going to be good, and they were. In fact, they look fabulous. And he took what I think is a really nice photograph of it, so I'll just drop that in so you can see. But we're only pulling one because it was just to make sure that they hadn't been completely eaten to within an inch of their life by carrot root fly or anything. And it is looking very super. So I'm going to cut that up and have that with our dinner tonight to go with our sea beet that we collected. I mean, we don't grow very much in the way of veg. We just grow a few things. We grow quite a few herbs and quite a bit of fruit, considering that it's really quite a small garden. We've got quite a lot of fruit. So that was rather exciting. We also have parsnips, which we kind of had a little look at, and they're looking good. And I have got some bok choy as well, but probably won't have that for Christmas dinner. I expect that will just probably be used up in stir fries before then. Right, okay, I'm going to just take this off one more time, do another Diz, and the light is fading so fast, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see me dizzing this off. So there are actually no lights in here. I can plug in like a standard lamp because there are a couple of sockets, but there are no ceiling lights. So it gets quite dark in here quite quickly. Right, I think that's good. Let's just Diz this off. And I suspect that will be my light gone at that point. So just twist it up. Don't know why I'm singing at you. Come on, little Diz thread. I think I need a Diz threader in my life, don't I? I wonder if I can make one out of a bit of coat hanger or something. Probably can. Don't think they're very difficult to make, are they? It's like distaffs. I've been looking online at people making distaffs, and I'm like, yeah, pretty sure I can do that. I have also been looking at flax wheels, and yeah, I'm a little scared by antique flax wheels, I have to say. I kind of look at them, people go, oh, it works. And you think, really? Are you sure that's not just a spinning wheel shaped object? But, yeah, I don't think I want to risk an antique flax wheel. I think I just don't have the kind of the technical skills to make it work if it didn't. So I think I'm just going to make a distaff and talk to Geraldine, the old Ashford traditional, and see if we can spin some linen at some point. Right, there you go. Last little nest. So lovely. I hope you enjoyed that little spin and chat, and I hope it was calming and relaxing, because I know it can be a very stressful, difficult time of the year. And I think it's quite nice just to stop and do something with your hands, get out of your head into your hands, and kind of bring the energy down and just kind of like, and relax before maybe we have to start kind of going at full speed again, like the Duracell bunny, kind of. So try not to have Duracell bunny energy. Try and have nice, relaxed, calm carding wool energy. Not carding wool, combing wool. Anyway, I'll see you in a few days' time. Bye for now.